Good afternoon. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Baltany Wheelking reference S2204030. This watch is available from Octopus Kraken Ali store on AliExpress for €201. The watch is available in two versions, a black dial or white dial version respectively. So firstly, let's look at the travel case that the watch comes in, and then I'll talk you through the other items one gets with the piece. So the watch comes in this Baltany branded hardshell travel case. I'll show you the interior. As you can see, both halves of the hardshell travel case are lined with two foam panels, which does a good job of protecting the watch in shipping from any damage. I like this hardshell style of travel case, and it makes a refreshing alternative to the default option of using a cardboard or plastic watch box. With regards to other items, one gets this Baltany owner's instruction manual. Clear, concise diagrams, and the instructions are in English. It details the operation of the movement use, which is the Seiko NH38 automatic. One also gets this plastic guarantee card, and I'm pleased to report that it's filled in with the date of purchase and also stamped by Baltany. So the watch is covered by a 2-year international guarantee, and I think Baltany deserve credit for this, because often low tier pieces, this is €201. One would expect them to be covered by a 12-month international guarantee. To get 2 years international warranty really is very good. And lastly, one also gets this Baltany branded microfiber polishing cloth. I always think it's a nice touch to get a branded microfiber polishing cloth, irrespective of the price point of the piece. So, with regards to the specifications of the piece, this is the Baltany Wheelking reference S2204030. We have a 40mm case diameter. We have a 47mm lug-to-lug measurement, a thickness of 13.2mm, and a lug width of 20mm. The genuine leather strap tapers from 20mm at the lugs down to the sterile buckle and tang. Nice heavy gauge of metal to the 316L grade stainless steel buckle and tang, and it's brushed satin finish throughout, so very aesthetically pleasing, although I would have preferred if they had signed it and engraved or laser etched Baltany on the buckle, because I think that would have added to the piece. Two keepers on the strap, as you can see. One's fixed, one slides, as one would expect, and the strap is nice and thick, but it does feel very soft and supple, and it's got a nice textured grain finish to the leather. Contrasting white stitching at the spring bar end, which also complements the contrasting stitching at the buckle and tang end of the strap. Plenty of holes in it to allow for fine tuning the length, and it just fits up to my 8-inch wrist, as I'll show you in the wrist shot. With regards to the rest of the specification, we have a double dome sapphire crystal, which has clear AR coating on the underside, and the clear anti-reflective coating does an excellent job of reducing the glare and the highly reflective nature of the mirror polished gilt hands. The pencil hands complement the C3 patina lume, which is printed on the dial rather than using applied indices. I like the symmetry of the dial with the absence of a date complication. The dial is matte black, and it's a very dark black. I also like the fact the dial isn't over-branded with unnecessary text or specification. We simply have Baltany in gilt at 12 o'clock and automatic in gilt at 6. For example, they didn't over-brand it with 200 meters water resistant, for example. It just has Baltany and automatic, just the right amount of information. I like the pencil hands. They make a refreshing change from using Mercedes hands, which are the default option. And I like the symmetry of the Submariner style dial layout with the patina lume. Clearly legible, and it's very aesthetically pleasing because the gilt pencil hands, the C3 patina lume, complement the bronze bezel. Now, with regards to the bezel, it's made from solid bronze, and they've inlaid 12 stainless steel ball bearings into it, which is something I've never seen before. The 12 o'clock ball bearing is larger, and that gives good orientation to it. And although it's not to my personal taste, I think Baltany deserve credit for coming up with an original design rather than making homage watches, which is what the brand's most known for. The bronze bezel also complements the solid bronze crown, coin edge finished crown. It's sterile and unsigned, and again, I would like to see Baltany engrave this with the brand emblem, because I think that would enhance the piece. So let's test the screw down crown execution. Absolutely silky smooth. Now, this is no surprise because bronze is used as a bearing material in bushes, and of course an internal bronze thread is going to interface very well with an external stainless steel crown tube thread. It feels absolutely silky smooth. So this piece uses the NH38, and therefore we don't have a date complication. It's the no date version of the NH35A, and so therefore there's only one click on the crown, which is good. Just the time setting position. Nice light resistance to the NH38. It feels very similar to the NH35A, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. Silky smooth, no back play clockwise or anti-clockwise, and it has hacking. As you can see, I've now hacked the second hand, so one can stop the time precisely to the second to set it exactly. Pushing it back in restarts the movement, and as you can see, the second hand begins to sweep around the dial once again. So I'll just test manually winding it. Absolutely silky smooth. One can feel the tension in the mainspring of the NH38 gradually building up to its maximum 40-hour power reserve. So an absolute pleasure to set the time and also manually wind it. So let's test screwing it back down. Immediate thread pickup. This is outstanding screw down crown execution. I really like the feeling of the solid bronze crown interfacing with the stainless steel crown tube because of bronze being a bearing material. It is very low friction. It's very smooth. It actually feels smoother than a stainless steel crown. It's an absolute pleasure to screw it down. I really like it. The screw down crown provides an effective hermetic seal to 200 meters, as does the sterile solid stainless steel screw down caseback, as you can see. Nice concentric finishing to it. It's CNC lathe cut, as you can see, and the CNC lathe tooling gives a nice concentric satin finish to it. As you can see, it's very nice the way it catches the light. So it's completely sterile. There's no engraving. I would like to see them engrave the specification, or alternatively the Baltany brand logo on the back, but the positive of it having a sterile case back is it is perfectly flat and smooth against the wrist, so it makes it very comfortable. The feel good factor of wearing it for long periods of time, such as 8 to 12 hours per day, is very good. Brushed satin finish to the underside of the case, no sharp edges, no burrs, finished to a very high standard, so the case back and the head of the piece are very well finished. The flanks to the case are polished to a flawless mirror finish, as you can see, and they contrast very well with the top edge of the lugs, which is brushed satin finish. Nice sharp edges, which mark the transition between the top edge of the lugs, brushed satin finishing, and the mirror polishing to the flanks. So they've got the edge nice and crisp, it's nice and sharp, but there's no sharp edges or burrs on it. It's very well deburred, even between the lugs, which is often an area that brands use a cost-cutting measure. They often leave sharp edges and burrs in between the lugs. So this is very well finished. It's a very well executed case. And also the finishing of the solid bronze bezel is done to a very high standard, and it's already beginning to develop a patina, as will the solid bronze crown. So I'll give you wrist shots and you can see how it fits on my 8-inch wrist. Now I'm pleased to report that it does just fit my 8-inch wrist, which is a pleasant surprise, because often you'll be aware that with my large 8-inch wrist, straps and bracelets don't fit my wrist, but you can see there's just enough length on the leather strap to fit in both of the keepers, so that's very good if you have a larger wrist. Now the proportions of this piece are very good. The 47mm lug-to-lug measurement has a nice curved profile to the undercut, so it's a snug fit to the wrist. Now it's a very well balanced piece, and it's deceptively light. I was expecting this to weigh in excess of 100 grams because of the use of bronze, which is a heavy metal, but it only weighs 91 grams on this leather strap, so it's a very well balanced piece, very comfortable, doesn't feel top heavy. 13.2mm including the double dome sapphire crystal, so it will easily slip underneath a shirt cuff if you wear business shirts. And I really like the gilt pencil hands and also the C3 patina lume, because they do complement the solid bronze bezel, which is inlaid with the 12 stainless steel ball bearings. So it's an aesthetically pleasing piece. It's something different. It's not an homage watch, and really the finishing of the bezel and also the head of the piece are done to a very high standard. It's nice the way these stainless steel ball bearings catch the light, and they contrast very well with the bronze bezel. So it's an interesting looking piece. Double dome sapphire crystal is also very aesthetically pleasing, the way it catches the light. So comfortable piece to wear for long periods of time, such as 8 to 12 hours per day, very well balanced. They've made the correct decision by using a 20mm lug width on a 40mm head of the piece. The proportions are very good. Right, so let's do a lume test and we'll see how the lume performs when it's charged up to the absolute maximum. So as always, I'm going to use my 100 UV LED torch to charge it up to the absolute peak. Right, so that's now fully charged, and as you can see, it has not disappointed. So this piece uses C3 Superluminova, which is top grade Superluminova. Good colour match between the pencil hands and also the printed indices. Now this is clearly 5 to 6 layers of C3 Superluminova. They haven't cut any corners, for example, by applying 2 to 3 layers. And it's glowing incredibly brightly, and it will continue to glow for a good length of time. Really top grade C3 Superluminova. This is 10 out of 10 performance. Something I like about Baltany watches, they always use very strong performance lume. I like the symmetry of the Submariner style dial layout, and I also like the fact that they've used patina lume, which looks good in daylight, but in the dark you can see it's got a lovely green tone to it, and I think it's very good. The legibility is excellent. One can clearly differentiate between the shorter pencil hour hand and the longer minute hand, and also I like there's a lume pip on the sweeping second hand, so one can see the second hand sweeping around the dial. It's still continuing to glow for a good length of time, and it's still continuing to glow brightly, so very impressive C3 Superluminova performance. Right, so let's discuss the movement used, because it's one of my favourite aspects of the piece. You will all be familiar with the Seiko NH38, which is the no-date version of the NH35A automatic. The architecture of the NH35A and the NH38 are the same. The only difference is the absence of the date wheel on the NH38. So it has 24 joules, it runs at 21,600 vibrations per hour and a frequency of 3 Hz. 40-hour power reserve is perfectly acceptable. Hand winding and hacking are useful complications. The stated accuracy of the NH38 is -20 to +40 seconds per day, so a rather wide accuracy range. However, I'm pleased to report that Baltany are well regulating the NH38 movements they're using. This one is running consistently at +6 seconds per day, which is excellent for an NH38 and perfectly acceptable. So correct choice of movement. Now, I want to give Baltany due credit, because often with Chinese low-tier brands, this is €201, so therefore it's a low-tier piece. They will often use the NH35A automatic, even when the piece is a no-date complication piece, and therefore one has the phantom date-setting position on the crown. They don't use the NH38, which would be the correct choice, because there is no date complication, so one only has one click position on the crown, the time-setting position. So Baltany deserve credit for that, because they've made the correct decision. They've chosen the NH38 rather than using the NH35A. And I like it. I like the fact that one unscrews the crown, pull it out to one click position, that's the time setting position. I prefer there just to be one position on the crown rather than a phantom date setting position. So reliable, well proven workhorse movement. I like the NH38, very reliable, and the accuracy is good enough at +6 seconds per day. So lastly, I'll summarise the piece. What do I think of it overall? Well, when I'm considering reviewing a watch on my channel, the watch should meet 2 criteria. It should be both excellent quality and excellent value at the respective price point. €201 is the price point. Yes, it is excellent quality. Yes, it is excellent value. The specification is strong. We have a screw-down crown, screw-down case back, 200 metres of water resistance, and C3 Superluminova, which is top grade. Bronze is an expensive material, and they deserve credit for using a solid bronze bezel and solid bronze screw-down crown. So they've done a very good job. The quality control is good, the finishing is good, the build quality is good throughout. No negatives whatsoever. The quality of the grained leather strap is also very good, soft and supple leather, but it's thick, so it's going to last for a good length of time. So really there are no negatives to this piece whatsoever. If you're looking for a 40mm daily wear piece, this is it. And the proportions are very good. 91 grams is comfortable. 40mm head of the piece with a 20mm lug width. It will fit all wrist sizes. So I'm going to recommend it to you for your consideration. I hope you've enjoyed my review of the Baltany Wheelking, reference S2204030. Please feel free to post your own comments below the video. Thank you very much.